Welcome to another session whereby we're going to learn about working directories and importing datasets into R. We'll start off with the working directories. So working directory, it's a location. Actually, it's a location whereby all your analysis will be stored, where all your datasets will be stored, where all the output or the codes that will be writing, all the visualization, the graphs will be stored. So setting working directories is good because that one will tell you where or it will make it possible for you to access certain analysis, certain codes, and certain datasets. So for example, we are working on a project, so it's good to know where that project is, where that project will be stored. So it's very important for you to know where your working directory is. So there are two ways in which you can set working directories. But first of all, you have to know the current working directory. How do you know the current working directory? You know the current working directory using this function called get wd, then closing and opening braces. So you just type get working directory. So if you run that code, it will give you the current working directory, and here it is giving me the current working directory is this is the full path of the working directory. It's in the C folder, users, desktop, and datasets. So it is in a folder called datasets in my desktop. So that is where these locations is. So actually, so if you come to my my device and I see the desktop, there's a folder called dataset. So this is the current working directory in this machine. So what if I want to change the current working directory? So when changing the current working directory, you use set wd, so set working directory, then you provide the full path. So I want to change my current working directory from this folder called dataset in my desktop to another folder called R in my desktop. So if you can see my desktop, this folder, I want to change it to this folder called R. So I right click on this folder, click on properties, I copy and paste this path, and then I bring it here. So you type set working directory, then you open let's see the quotation marks, and then so here it is. And if you're using backslashes, you use double backslashes in R. So you use double backslashes. And there we go. If you run this code, it will change your current working directory. So the current working directory was this, it has now been changed to that. So that's how we change current working directory. So, and another thing to note is that in backslashes, when you're using backslashes, you use two backslashes, but when you're using forward slashes, you use one forward slash. So keep note of that, in that when you're setting your working directories and you're using forward slashes, you use single, that's one forward slash. But when you're using backslashes, you use two backslashes. So basically, that's how you can set your working directory. That's the first way to set your working directories. So if you don't want to use codes, you come to session, then set working directory, then you choose the working directory you want. If you click here, so as you can see, the current working directory is set to R. So if you want to change the folder, you can as well change the folder. So for example, I want to set it to this folder called data science. I click open, and as you can see here, it has been changed to this folder called data science. So I'll set it back to R. I run this code. It has been set back to this folder called R. So if I want to see this, if that's true, I run this get working directory, and here it has been changed. That's how you change your working directory. So let's see how we can import data sets. So the great it's very great, or it's one way of learning R is using the inbuilt dataset. And how do you access the inbuilt dataset? You access the inbuilt dataset by typing datasets, and here it gives you a variety of datasets that are available in R. So these are inbuilt datasets that are available for you to perform the basic analysis you want. So for example, there's this dataset called iris. So you type datasets, then iris. If you run that, it will give you this dataset called iris dataset. So this dataset, it has sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and species. So you can perform various analysis in this dataset and other various datasets that are available here. So, but this dataset may not meet your needs. For example, you may want to analyze a dataset that is in Excel, that is in comma separated values, stata or SPSS. How do you do that? You have to import it into R so that you can analyze it. So we start with the reading flat files, that is comma separated values. And how do comma separated values look like? This is a data set called diabetes. I want us to look at it. I have it in my it is in my current working directory. My current working directory is here. There's a data set here called diabetes. It is here. It is this data set called diabetes risk prediction. It's comma separated values. I want us to see it. Let's open it and see how it looks like first of all before we import it, so that we understand how this data set looks like. So this data set has these columns. This is the column names. So it has age, gender, polyuria, this name, sudden, and weight, loss, weakness. So all these are the column names, and this is the first observation. So the first observation, the age is 40, the gender is male, the polyuria is no, the polydipsia is no. So as you can see, it is separated by commas. It is separated by commas. This is the CSV file. I want us to import this data set into R. For example, we want to analyze this data set. So how do we go about it? So if the data set is in your current working directory, and our current working directory, let's see the current working directory. I'm sure it's R. Here it is. So it is in this this folder called R in the desktop. So if you want to import a data set that is in your current working directory, you just have to use read CSV function, and read CSV function is from the readr package. So first of all, you have to install the package if it's not installed by running install.packages readr, or you can come use this then you click on install, then install readr package. Then you have to load the package. So you load the package using this function called require or library. So you can either use require or library readr, and you run this and it has been loaded. So you use this function read underscore CSV. You can as well use another function called read.csv, which is an inbuilt dataset, but read.csv is much slower. Read underscore CSV is much faster. So you use read underscore CSV, then you provide the name of the dataset. So this dataset is called diabetes risk underscore prediction underscore dataset. And please don't forget this extension. This extension is very, very important. For example, if we remove this extension, let's run and see. An error will pop up. It is error diabetes risk. This diabetes risk prediction that does not exist in the current working directory. So it's important that you add the extension. Add the extension, which is .csv, and run that. And here it is. This is the data set, and as you can see, these are the column names. These are the column names. So you can start analyzing this data set, performing the analysis you want to perform. Now, for data set that is not in your current working directory, you have to provide the full file path. So you have to provide the full path to that directory. For example, there's a dataset in my dataset folder called binary underscore CSV. Let's look at that. It is in desktop datasets. There's a dataset called binary. Here it is. Let's open it, and here it is. As you can see, it's clearly comma separated value. It has it has four columns: admit, GRE, GPA, and rank. So each value is separated by comma. I want us to import this dataset. How do you go about that? You still use read underscore CSV. I'm giving it a name called binary, then read underscore CSV. Then I provide the full path. So it is in the folder C users desktop dataset, then binary.csv. I run that, and there it is. Here is the dataset. I can click here, and here it is binary, and here it is admit, GRE, GPA, and so that's how you import data that is in CSV. How do we import dataset that is in Excel format? We use the package called read Excel. So you have to install it if it's not installed. And then you run the function library read Excel. Then I'm giving it a name called data underscore one read underscore Excel. Then I provide the full path of the dataset. Then I'm saying it is in sheet. The sheet that I want is a sheet 1. Let's run this, and let's see how data 1 looks like. Data 1, and here it is. So that's how you import a dataset that is in Excel. So another way that you can import datasets that is not in your or that is not available, or a data set that is in Excel format is using, if you don't want to use codes, for example, come to session, not session actually, come here, import datasets. It's from Excel. Then you browse where the dataset that dataset is. For example, I want to import this data. For example, this data one. Click on open, and here it is. There is a preview of the datasets. So this is how the datasets looks like. This is the column name. The column name is ID, name, grade, and age. So what's the name of the dataset that I want? So this is the name. I want it to remain as data one. Which sheet do you want to import? Is it sheet one? That is sheet one. If you want to import another sheet, for example, sheet two, still, as you can see, sheet two has some missing values. So how do you want to treat these missing values? So from sheet number A1, so this sheet in Excel, this is sheet A1, up to the last sheet, that is sheet D10. So this is A, B, C, D, then this is column 1, this is row 1, 2, up to row 10. So from A1 to D10, so that's from A1 to sheet D10. How do I want to treat N as anything that is empty? Any cell that is empty, treat them as NA. Skip, I don't want to skip. Maximum rows, yes, should give you maximum row. Do you want the first rows as names? This one. If it's true, you click it OK. Then I know you can click on import, or you can copy this code and paste it into R. The best way to do is you copy it and paste it into R. So I want to change this name, for example, from data 1 to maybe data 3. No, let's change it to data 2 because it is sheet number 2. Then if when all these are okay, click on this code preview here. It has copied it. And then you click on cancel, and then it is, you paste it, you paste the code, and then you run this code, and here it is. As you can see, there is NA here missing value. So that's how you import a data set in Excel. That's a data set that is in Excel. So the SPSS and stata, that is the .sav that serve, and .dta. So a dataset that is in SPSS, you use a library called Haven. So you have to install the package using installed packages, then you run using the library function or the require package. So run that. We have loaded the library. There's a dataset called SAV in my data set function. So I'm using read_csv. I provide the full path of the dataset, and then the name of the dataset and the file extension. I run that. Let's view the dataset. Here it is, SAV. I click on it here, and as you can see, here it is. It's quite a dataset that has many columns. It is a research study. So that is it. That's how you import a data set that is a SPSS format, that is a .sav. How do you import a data set that is that has an extension .dta, that is a starter file? You still load the package called haven package. Then there's a data set called macro underscore or .dta. So again, read.dta. I'm using the function called read.dta. And please remember that the starter and SPSS use the same library to import dataset. That's the haven library. So when you're importing SPSS files, you use read underscore sav. And when you're reading when you are importing a dataset files, you use read underscore dta. So I'm saying read underscore dta. I provide the full path. This is the full path. So it is in C, in the C folder, users, desktop datasets, then the name of the dataset and its extension. So if I run this, and I can as well view the dataset, and here it is. Here is the name of the dataset. So actually, it's is a macroeconomic. Is macroeconomic dataset of a certain country. So you can as well start to analyze this data. For example, you can look at it using you can as well see the structure of the data set using the str macro. And here it is. It is a table with the 220 rows with the 6 column. There is a quarter, which is a character. There is a year, which is a number, and there is PCEC TPI, there is CPI AUCSL. So you can start analyzing the data. So that's basically how we import the basic data sets into R. Thank you. Enjoy learning. We meet in our next session.